Hi, hi, hi. Hi, welcome to the channel. My name is Elena, my sister Erin edits our videos, and today I'm coming at you with another Christmas themed video. I'm creating this classic Christmassy holiday party makeup. It's glam, but it's accessible, and all of the products that I used are drugstore products. Now, we all love an all drugstore look. While I do this makeup, I'm going to be telling you about a couple Christmas books that I think would be excellent to read this time of year. They are ones I've read in the past and really enjoyed. So I'll give you a couple book recommendations while I create this gorgeous holiday event makeup. Our channel focuses on books and beauty. This is a combination video where I'm talking about books and putting on some makeup. If you enjoy those kind of combo videos, please subscribe to our channel or like the video to let me know. We also have some content that is more lifestyle focused and videos that just feature beauty or just feature books. So check out our channel if you're interested in more content like this. And with all that being said, let me zoom you in and let's get into it. All right, I'm starting with a primer. I don't always use primer, but I think for a special event like a Christmas party, primer is the way to go. And I'm gonna be using the e.l.f. Power Grip Primer with 4% niacinamide. I'm almost out of this, I really like it. It's very sticky, so it makes your makeup really set down and it'll help your makeup not to go anywhere. So I'm taking 2 pumps of that. Now the key with this is you have to let it sit for a little bit. That's how it gets nice and sticky. It's already a little sticky, but if I give it a few minutes, not even a few, like 2, it'll really be ready to go. So I'm gonna go ahead and prime my lids while that happens using the e.l.f. Shadow Lock Eyelid Primer. I promise I'm not using all e.l.f. products today, okay? Just the primers. Taking a couple swipes of that. And next, I am color correcting under my eyes with the LA Girl Pro Conceal High Definition Concealer. This is the Peach Corrector. I definitely don't want dark circles peeking through for like a holiday event, you know? There we go. And for my foundation today, my favorite drugstore base is honestly still the NYX Bear With Me Concealer. I love using this as a foundation. It's not crazy high coverage. It's solidly medium coverage. And it has a really pretty finish. It looks so smooth on the skin. I really like this stuff. So I will be mixing 2 shades, 2.5 and 4. I'm using a whole pump of 2.5 and like half a pump of 4. And just mixing that together on the back of my hand. And then I like to distribute it around the face before I go in and blend it out. And the first book that I'm going to be recommending to you to read for Christmas season is Agatha Christie's Hercule Poirot's Christmas. I'm blending that out now with a knockoff beauty blender. If you aren't familiar with Hercule Poirot, he is Agatha Christie's most famous detective character. He's a world-class Belgian detective, and she has like 30 books featuring him. There are a bunch of short stories, movies, there's even 2 plays. His main character traits are being short and having a mustache and being super smart, but that's pretty much it. That's really all you need to know. This looks better than a lot of my high-end foundations do. You don't need to have read the other Hercule Poirot books to enjoy this one. You can jump in right here. You can never read another Hercule Poirot book again, but I do think this one's really fun, really good. Okay, now I'm going to do my brows using the Maybelline Express Brow Ultra Slim Pencil in the shade Medium Brown. So in Hercule Poirot's Christmas, rich old man Simeon Lee has called his 4 sons and their wives together for Christmas, where he announces that he's changing his will and he's cutting them all off financially. As you can imagine, it does not go over well. He gets murdered. It's a classic cozy mystery whodunit style, and Hercule Poirot has to question all of the suspects and use his deductive reasoning powers to determine who the murderer was. These like dialogue heavy locked door mysteries remind me so much of the Nancy Drew computer games that Aaron and I used to play when we were kids. We were obsessed with those games. And this is like reading one of those games. And it's really fun. It gives you that nostalgic feeling of an old school murder mystery. And it's enjoyable to try to figure out who the killer is before the end. He always calls them together at the end, all of the suspects, and he talks through who was the murderer and how he figured it out. The big reveal is really fun, and this book does actually have some good twists and turns. If you're looking for a Christmas mystery, this is definitely the one I recommend. If you watched my November Faves and Fails video, you know I did read a different cozy Christmas mystery this month, but it did not hit for me. It was a no, it was a fail. And now I'm setting my eyes and my under eyes with the Rimmel Stay Matte Powder in the shade 4 Sandstorm. Taking my Real Technique sponge, the flat side of it, I'm just gonna press this over my lid and under my eyes to set the eyeshadow primer and the color corrector that I already used. And this will make it so that all of my eyeshadow blends really well. There we go. I've been doing my makeup in a weird order lately. I've been doing, you know, all of my priming products, then my base, then my brows a little bit, and then my eyes completely through, including mascara. So that's what I'm gonna do today. I mean, there's a reason for it, which I'll explain. I mean, basically it's just because when I do my mascara, I tend to get some of it onto my lid, and then it can dry while I'm doing the rest of my base makeup, and I can just flick away the mascara that ended up where it's not supposed to be. So I'm going to zoom you in for the eyes. This is going to be a very neutral, classic holiday eye. Nothing too crazy. Anyone could do this, but it has a lot of impact. All right, I am going to use, of course, my ColourPop Rudolph the Red-Nosed Reindeer palette. I've done a bunch of colorful holiday looks with this. You can see some of them in our shorts, but today I'm just going to stick to the neutral colors in here and keep it really simple because I am going to be wearing a red lip, and I don't want the eyes to kind of distract from that. So, taking a fluffy blending brush, I'm going into the shade Eat Eat, tapping it off, and I'm gonna blend this through the crease and on the outer half of my lid. I'm also running that underneath my eye on the lower lash line. And now taking the shade Little Buck to deepen it up a bit. I'm going in the exact same spots as before. And now for a shimmer all over my lid, I'm using the ColourPop Super Shock Shadow in the shade Kush. I'm just using my finger to apply this. I'm putting it everywhere. I'm kind of taking it a little high up because what's Christmas without a lot of shimmer, right? Now I'm going to add a wing with liquid eyeliner. I'm using the NYX Epic Ink Liner in the shade Black. I'll show you how I do a wing. I have slightly hooded eyes, not super hooded, but a little bit. And this is the method that I always use to make my winged eyeliner. I think winged eyeliner looks really festive for Christmas time. So you definitely do not have to do a wing. You could just smudge some black eyeliner along the top of your lash line. I really like the Maybelline Smoky Gel eyeliner for that. But I think a wing is really festive and classic for Christmas, so that's what I'm gonna be doing. I start by lining my lash line and I just follow the shape of my eye, and then I will draw my flick. I'll show you. Okay, now I've lined the upper lash line. Now I will start right at the outer corner of my eye and draw a line extending from my lower lash line. And if you can, it helps to be looking straight ahead into your mirror while you do this, so you can see where your hooded eye folds over and avoid that area, basically. Now I will drag it back in to meet the line that I drew on the lash line. Just like that. And now I'll just color in those little gaps. Voila, a wing. I'm going to do the other eye real quick. And now for the brightest ever inner corner, I'm taking the NYX Ultimate Glow Shot in the shade Come Through Coconut, and I'm gonna use a little tiny brush to paint that into my inner corner. So I pulled the NYX glitter a little bit in on my lower lash line just to really open up the eyes. And now I'm going to take a black eyeliner. I'm just using the NYX Epic Wear liner stick. Really anything will work for this. And I'm going to add a little bit of it just to the outer corner of my eyes. I don't really know why, but it's gonna look good. It just needs this a little bit, trust me. Just that much. And I'm making sure that it kind of connects with the wing. There we are. Next, I will be curling my lashes and packing on the mascara. Today I'm using the L'Oreal Telescopic Mascara. And my next book to recommend is pretty much a classic Hallmark movie, rom-com type book. It's called The Christmas Bookshop by Jenny Colgan. The main character of this book is Carmen, who is a lifelong underachiever and has just lost her job right before the holidays. And the last thing that she wants is to go stay with her overachiever big sister, Sophia, who seems to have like the perfect life. And honestly, Sophia doesn't really want Carmen to come stay with her either because Carmen is kind of a bitch. To be fair, she's going through it. She's had a tough time recently, but their mom intervenes, as moms so often do, and insists, hoping that the sisters will get closer together. And I'm sure you can imagine that's exactly what happens. While she's staying there, Sophia gets Carmen a job at a local bookshop that's sort of falling apart and hasn't had any business in years. And Carmen decides to try to save the business. And there's also a romance, there's a love triangle situation where Carmen has to choose between this literary bad boy or the quiet, studious guy. It's a classic Hallmark movie plot. It's going to give you exactly what you want from this genre, and I think it's a really fun read. Also, a dusty old bookshop full of secrets and hidden areas is one of my favorite tropes. I just love that stuff. All right, so we look a little crazy right now with our eyes totally done and the rest of our face is just like blanked out. So we're gonna go back to the face here in a second. But first, I just wanted to point out that this is a neutral eye and a very classic one. As long as you have eyeliner and some neutral eyeshadows, you can totally recreate this look, whether or not you have the Rudolph palette by ColourPop or the Super Shock shadow that I used today. If you only had the palette, you could totally just use the shade North Pole all over the lid as your shimmery color instead of using Kush. I just really like Kush and think it's even more reflective than North Pole. Another recommendation I have is the Sephora Colorful Metal Effect eyeshadow in the shade To the Moon and Back. Now I know this isn't technically drugstore, but the price is drugstore, so I'm gonna recommend it, and I'll show you a swatch as well. So here's To the Moon and Back. So reflective. Now for comparison's sake, here is Kush that I actually used today. You can see it's a little more pinky. And here's the shade North Pole from the palette. If you only had the palette, you could definitely just use this, pack it on with your finger, and get a shimmery result. But as you can see, the Super Shock shadow and the Sephora shadow are just more pigmented and brighter, more reflective. And that's what I wanted today, a really reflective lid. Okay, let's even out the face. Starting with bronzer and contour, my bronzer today is going to be the Makeup Revolution Cream Bronzer in the shade Light. This stuff is so good! It's really pigmented though, so I'm gonna tap my brush in here, literally like, did I miss? One tap, and spread that out over my face. Just go a little at a time with this stuff. It is really, really pretty though. I like to just follow the perimeters of my face with the bronzer. You can kind of go a little bit of everywhere, but then I'm a little more precise with the contour, as you'll see in a sec. And I'm putting a little bit on my chin. And now contouring with the NYX Wonder Stick in the shade Fair. It has a highlighter on one end and a contour shade on the other. The highlighter is not my favorite. I just don't really like it, but the contour shade is amazing. And it comes in this thin stick, which is so easy to apply. So I'm going to add that wherever I want a little more shadow on my face. So here, right there. Same thing, under my lower lip, along my jawline, and a little bit right in the middle of my nose. I don't really do a nose contour. This is as much nose contour as I ever do. And now I'm just going to blend it out. The last book on my list for today is Hiddensee by Gregory Mcguire. I read this book a few years back, but I actually remember it really well, which should tell you something. It's very unique. Gregory Mcguire is the same author who wrote Wicked, and the same way that Wicked is sort of like a prequel and reimagining of The Wizard of Oz, Hiddensee is sort of a prequel and reimagining of The Nutcracker. Side note, I'm obsessed with The Nutcracker, and I highly recommend reading the OG Nutcracker story, which is called The Nutcracker and the Mouse King. It was written in the early 1800s. It's a short read, and it has that like intensity that those old school folklore stories have, like Grimm's fairy tales and things like that. And like I said, it's a quick read and just fun to see how the story has evolved over the years. Anyway, back to Hiddensee. Hiddensee is the story of Dirk Drosselmeyer, a young toy maker who will one day grow up to be the godfather of Clara and gift her the famous Nutcracker. For my blush today, I'm going to use the Milani Cream Cheek Kiss blush in the shade Nude Kiss. Okay, this book is set in 1800s Germany, and it has a lot of that sort of creepiness that old folk tales have. And I'm putting a little bit of that on the tip of my nose just to give me that wintry, ooh, I'm cold type look. And now I'm going to add a little more definition to my brows using the NYX Lift and Snatch Brow Pen in the shade Ash Brown. This is definitely not one of those cheerful, happy Christmas stories, you know? It's not gonna air on the Hallmark Channel. It's more dark and moody, one of those stories that's more vibes than plot. Most of it follows Dirk in his childhood and then sort of wandering around, gaining the skills of a toy maker. Dirk is kind of a misfit and an anti-hero, which makes him a really interesting character. It's cool to see some of the backstory and imagine how he got to the place that he's in during the events of the classic Nutcracker tale, you know? This book is definitely not for everyone, but personally, I really enjoyed it. It's different. All right, let's bring down the shine with some powder. I'm using the e.l.f. HD powder today. I'm taking that on a powder puff. I like to dip the powder puff into the powder and then press it into the lid and then take it onto my face. I try a lot of powders and I really like this powder. It's mattifying and blurring without being too mattifying, and this will also help my makeup to really last. Looking pretty. Now, it's not a holiday look. It's definitely not a classic holiday look without a bold red lip. So we are definitely gonna be doing one of those today. Let me get it together. This is a red lip for a holiday party though, so I need the longevity. So I'm going to be using a lip stain today. I'm going to use the e.l.f. Glossy Lip Stain in the shade Fiery Red, and I'm pairing that with the ColourPop Lippie Pencil in the shade Bossy. The lip pencil will give me that extra boldness. I want my lips to look very defined, and if I only use the lip stain, they're going to look a bit more stained, a little more blurry, but I want a very defined lip, so I'm going to start with the lip liner. Looking very normal. Okay, let's see if the lip stain can help me out here. Oh yeah. Back on track right away. You know what? I think it looks a little too pink. I'm going to switch the lip stain to the e.l.f. Glossy Lip Stain in Spicy Sienna, which is just a little bit more of a darker red. Fiery red is a really pretty shade, but it's just a little too pink for what I want right now. I will say, look how nicely it stained my lips, and it was only on there for a few minutes. This is great because if I were going out to a holiday party, which I might be, I could talk, eat, drink, whatever, and still have this really pretty lip going on. All right, now I'm taking Spicy Sienna. Oh yeah. There we go. Okay. Time for just a little bit of finishing touches. These steps are optional, but I think they're fun. I am going to add some highlight now using the Makeup Revolution Highlighter Reloaded in the shade Just My Type. Like I said, I think Christmas demands glitter. Okay, so a little highlight is just the ticket. And a little bit under my brow bone, tip of the nose, right between the eyes, Cupid's bow. Very nice. And I am going to add some lashes to this look. I'm using the Ardell Demi Wispies. These are pretty much universally flattering. I think they look really, really nice. They're cheap. You can get them in a pack of 5 to make them even cheaper. And to make them look a little more natural, I'm going to trim them down a little. I always trim off the longer pieces instead of the inside short pieces. I need those short pieces to help my lashes blend together. But I cut off quite a bit from the end so that I can have kind of more of a half lash effect. The half lash is just a more trendy look right now, and I think it's sexy and will still give my eyes some lift and some, you know, some volume. I'll show you how much I cut off. Looks like that. So that small piece I will not be using, and the longer piece is what's gonna actually go onto my lashes. And I'm using the Duo Lash Adhesive, the brush-on one that dries black. I only like to use this lash glue when I have winged eyeliner on because it blends in. A little bit of this. And now I just let them dry for like a minute, like a good minute before I actually put them on my eyelashes. And I'm using my fingers to just pop them down. And then I place it down on top of my lashes. I squish in the outer corner, I squish in the inner corner, and then I press the whole thing against my eyelid to make sure they've made contact. Now I'll do the same thing to the other eye. And that is the finished classic holiday makeup look using all drugstore products. I hope you enjoyed watching me create this classic look and talking through a couple Christmas reads that you might want to get into this holiday season. If you did, please like the video, comment down below, subscribe to our channel, do all the things. We are a very new channel and we really appreciate your support. So thanks so much, and until our next video, see you soon.